Few sagas in video game history have managed to immerse us in an atmosphere of horror and despair like Silent Hill. Since its debut in 1999, this series has redefined the survival horror genre, transporting us to a town shrouded in thick fog, plagued by terrifying creatures and disturbing mysteries. With its psychological storytelling, an unforgettable soundtrack composed by Akira Yamaoka, and a horror design that plays with our perception and deepest fears, Silent Hill became an instant classic. Today, we'll explore the 10 best Silent Hill games you can enjoy natively on the PS Vita. So, put on your headphones, brace yourself for the fog, and join us on this journey into the darkest depths of Silent Hill. Hi, I'm Yacross, and the game starts now. Number 10. Silent Hill, Book of Memories, the most different Silent Hill of all. When people think of Silent Hill, the first things that come to mind are its dark environments, psychological horror, complex storytelling, and survival horror gameplay. However, Silent Hill, Book of Memories took a completely different direction. Released exclusively for PlayStation Vita in 2012, this title radically deviated from the traditional gameplay of the series, opting for an action RPG approach with an isometric perspective. Unlike the main Silent Hill games, where protagonists arrive in town haunted by their past and traumas, Book of Memories follows a different premise. The protagonist receives a mysterious memory book as a birthday gift from an unknown sender. Soon, they discover that the book contains the story of their life, written in its pages. Realizing they can rewrite their past and alter their fate, they decide to take advantage of it, but the consequences won't be as simple as they seem. To change their story, the protagonist must enter a nightmare world inspired by various Silent Hill games, facing off against iconic creatures from the series. It truly sets Book of Memories apart from other Silent Hill games is its gameplay. Instead of the traditional third-person view, this game uses a top-down camera, similar to action RPGs like Diablo or Torchlight. As you progress, you can upgrade your character's abilities, making them stronger and more resilient. Unlike classic Silent Hill games, where ammo and resources are scarce, here, combat is constant. And there are plenty of weapons to choose from. Each level is randomly generated, making every playthrough different. For the first time in the franchise, the game features online multiplayer mode, allowing up to 4 players to team up and battle creatures from the Silent Hill universe. As in other games in the series, player choices influence the story and its outcome. Although Book of Memories' story is not directly connected to other games, there are multiple references to characters and events from previous titles. You can customize your character's appearance, name, and even combat style. As in many Silent Hill games after Silent Hill 2, Pyramid Head makes an appearance, though its inclusion has been criticized for feeling more like fan service than something meaningful to the story. Some levels also contain visual and textual references to the early entries in the series. Silent Hill, Book of Memories is undoubtedly one of the franchise's strangest installments. While it didn't manage to win over all fans, it remains an interesting experience for those who enjoy action games with Silent Hill elements. If you've ever wanted to play a Silent Hill game in co-op mode or experience something different within the series, Book of Memories might surprise you. Do you think Silent Hill should attempt another spin-off like this? Let us know in the comments. Number 9. Silent Hill Origins, the origin of horror. Silent Hill Origins, released in 2007 for PSP and later on PlayStation 2, is a prequel to the first Silent Hill, designed to expand the story of the town and its dark secrets. Despite being a title developed by Climax Studios instead of Team Silent, Origins managed to capture the essence of psychological horror that characterizes the franchise. With classic gameplay and a new perspective on the events that started Silent Hill's curse, this game is a key piece in the history of the saga. The game follows Travis Grady, a truck driver with a traumatic past who, while traveling on the road, encounters a girl running through the fog near Silent Hill. After following her, he discovers a burning house and rescues a severely injured girl before fainting. When he wakes up, he is trapped in Silent Hill, a town that seems to be calling him for reasons he does not yet understand. As he progresses on his journey, Travis meets key characters such as Dahlia Gillespie, Lisa Garland, and Dr. Kaufman, who are involved in occult planning the rebirth of a dark entity. The girl he saved is none other than Alessa Gillespie, the central piece of the events that will unleash the horrors of the series. Depending on the decisions made throughout the game, Origins has 3 endings. Origins maintains the classic gameplay of the series, with exploration, combat, and puzzle solving, but introduces some new elements that make it unique. Unlike other games where the transition between the normal world and the other world happens at specific moments, here Travis can do it manually using mirrors. This element is key to solving puzzles and accessing new areas. Unlike previous installments, Travis can block attacks, which slightly improves the combat mechanics compared to the clumsiness of other protagonists like Harry Mason or James Sunderland. Silent Hill Origins managed to maintain a terrifying atmosphere thanks to its intelligent use of visual and sound effects. Despite graphical limitations, the fog and shadows are used effectively to maintain the oppressive atmosphere characteristic of the saga. The transitions to the otherworld are more abrupt and terrifying than in previous games, with intense use of rust, blood, and walls of living flesh. The enemies are inspired by Travis's traumas, reinforcing the psychological horror. For example, the Butcher, a figure similar to Pyramid Head, represents the violence and brutality lurking in the protagonist's mind. As in other games in the saga, the Muse, IC plays a crucial role in the game's atmosphere. Songs like Shot Down in Flames and ORT reinforce the feeling of despair and madness. Silent Hill Origins is an interesting prequel that expands the story of the town and offers us a new perspective on the cult and its dark rituals. Although it does not reach the level of impact of the first games, it manages to capture the saga's atmosphere and offers new mechanics that refresh the gameplay. For survival horror fans, it is an excellent option to experience terror on a portable console. And you? Would you dare to discover the origin of the nightmare? Number 8. Silent Hill, the beginning of the nightmare. When talking about psychological horror in video games, we cannot ignore the first Silent Hill. Released in 1999 for PlayStation 1, this title not only defined a franchise but also revolutionized the survival horror genre, differentiating itself from its main competitor, Resident Evil, with a much more psychological and disturbing approach. The story follows Harry Mason, an ordinary man traveling with his adopted daughter, Cheryl, to the mysterious town of Silent Hill. However, a road accident leaves him unconscious, and when he wakes up, he discovers that his daughter has disappeared. As he enters the town to search for her, he finds a place covered in thick fog and out-of-season snow, a sign that something is not right. As his search progresses, Harry encounters strange creatures and enigmatic characters such as Nurse Lisa Garland, Officer Sybil Bennett, and the mysterious Dahlia Gillespie, who seems to know more than she lets on. He soon discovers that the town hides a dark secret related to a cult called the Order, which is trying to revive a demonic entity using his daughter as the perfect vessel for its rebirth. This journey takes Harry through different versions of the town, a normal but unsettling reality, an alternate dimension covered in rust and blood, and a constant fog that hides indescribable horrors. Depending on the choices made in the game, the story can end in different ways, some more tragic than others. The gameplay of Silent Hill follows the classic survival horror structure: exploration, puzzle solving, and combat against hostile creatures. Unlike Resident Evil, where characters have military or police training, Harry Mason is just an ordinary man, which is reflected in his clumsy weapon handling and limited stamina. One of the game's most iconic aspects is the pocket radio that emits static noise when enemies are near. This not only serves as a warning but also creates a constant sense of paranoia. The game features puzzles that require observation and logic, some of which are inspired by literature and poetry. At different moments in the game, the world changes drastically, transforming into the Otherworld, a twisted and nightmarish version of Silent Hill, filled with rust, blood, and even more hostile creatures. For its time, Silent Hill's graphics were not the most detailed. But the development team cleverly used the PlayStation 1 hardware limitations to create a terrifying atmosphere. Originally used to hide pop-in and graphical limitations, the fog became a distinctive trademark of the game. Not only does it limit the player's visibility, but it also generates a sense of isolation and fear. Inspired by nightmares and the work of artists like Francis Bacon, the creatures in Silent Hill have distorted humanoid shapes that reflect the story's fears and traumas. Akira Yamaoka created a haunting soundtrack that blends industrial music with unsettling silence, increasing the tension and the feeling of being trapped in a nightmare. Like many games in the series, Silent Hill features a secret ending in which Harry is abducted by aliens. This became a recurring joke throughout the franchise. The game is heavily influenced by films like Jacob's Ladder, 1990, and The Mist 1980, which is reflected in its surreal aesthetics and narrative. One of the most impactful moments in the game is discovering Lisa's fate, the nurse trapped in the hospital, which has become one of the most memorable scenes for fans. Depending on how you play, you can get 4 main endings and 1 secret ending, adding replay value to the title. Unlike Silent Hill 2, which focuses more on psychological horror and character development, the first game has a story more connected to the town's mythos and its cult. Due to hardware limitations, Harry's controls may feel clumsy compared to later entries. This is the game that established many of the saga's iconic elements, such as the fog, the radio, alternate dimensions, and ambiguous storytelling. Despite its age, Silent Hill remains a survival horror benchmark. Its oppressive atmosphere, disturbing story, and immersive gameplay have made it a timeless classic. If you're a horror fan and want to experience the origin of one of the most influential sagas of all time, this title is a must-play. Now tell me, would you dare to walk alone through the streets of Silent Hill? Number 7. Silent Hill Play Novel, the Silent Hill that many didn't play. Among the most unknown games in the saga, Silent Hill Play Novel stands out as a rarity within the Silent Hill universe. Released exclusively in Japan in 2001 for the Game Boy Advance, this title never officially reached the West, making it a cult piece among fans of the series. Unlike the main games, this is not a traditional survival horror, but an interactive visual novel, something completely unusual for the franchise. The plot of Silent Hill Play Novel is an adaptation of the original Silent Hill from 1999 for PlayStation. The story follows the same basic development as the first game. However, since this is a visual novel, the story unfolds differently, with multiple paths and choices that affect the narrative. In addition to Harry's main story, there was a second playable story starring Sybil Bennett, which could be downloaded via the mobile adapter GB system and accessory. That allowed the GBA to connect to the internet in Japan. Unfortunately, this additional content was lost with the closure of the service, making it one of the rarest elements in the entire saga. Being a visual novel, Silent Hill Play Novel completely abandons the typical gameplay of the saga. Instead of controlling a character in a 3D environment, the player reads the story and chooses between different options that affect the course of the narrative. Depending on the decisions you make, the story can take different paths, leading to various events and endings. Throughout the game, there are moments when the player can spend intuition points to get hints on which decision to make. However, these points are limited, adding a strategic element. Harry's story has different outcomes depending on the player's choices. This gives it some replay value, although it is more limited compared to the main games. Between story segments, the game features small puzzles that the player must solve. Despite the hardware limitations of the Game Boy Advance, Silent Hill Play Novel manages to capture the atmosphere of the original game through static images and text. Most of the backgrounds are images extracted from Silent Hill on PlayStation and converted to grayscale to adapt to the GBA screen. Since it was never officially released outside of Japan, the game is only available in Japanese. However, fans have created English translation patches, like the one we are playing now. Due to hardware limitations, the game does not feature Akira Yamaoka's iconic soundtrack, although it uses sound effects to set the mood in certain scenes. Sybil's story was lost in time. The second playable story, starring Sybil Bennett, could only be downloaded with the mobile adapter GB, and currently, there is no official way to access it. To unlock all the information about the story, it is necessary to play multiple times and make different choices. Some of the endings in Play Novel do not appear in the original Silent Hill, making it a curiosity for fans of the saga. Although the GBA had adaptations of other survival horror franchises like Resident Evil, Silent Hill Play Novel is the saga's only official appearance on this console. Its style is reminiscent of choose-your-own-adventure books, something that makes it unique within the franchise. Silent Hill Play Novel is a rarity within the saga, a completely different version of the 1999 classic that brings the story to the visual novel format. Although it is not a traditional horror experience, it offers a new way to experience Harry M. Asson's story and discover new details about Silent Hill. While its gameplay is limited and its lack of a Western release has kept it in obscurity, it remains a fascinating piece of the franchise's history. For the most dedicated fans, it is a hidden gem worth exploring, even if only through emulation and community translations. Would you like to see more Silent Hill games in the visual novel format? Leave it in the comments. Number 6. Silent Hill. Shattered Memories, a Silent Hill like never before seen. Silent Hill. Shattered Memories is a reimagining of the first Silent Hill, released in 2009 for the Wii and later for PlayStation 2 and PSP. Developed by Climax Studios, this title breaks many of the series' conventions, offering a more dynamic narrative experience focused on the player's psychology. While it retains the basic story of a father searching for his daughter in Silent Hill, Shattered Memories reinterprets the narrative, gameplay, and world structure, making it one of the most unique and polarizing entries in the series. The story begins similarly to the first Silent Hill. Harry Mason suffers a car accident in a snowy Silent Hill and wakes up alone, with his daughter Cheryl missing. However, unlike the original game, this version of Silent Hill is not covered in dense fog but in a freezing snowstorm. Every time Harry approaches a painful truth, the world freezes entirely, and terrifying creatures relentlessly chase him. Between each exploration segment, the game takes us to a psychiatrist's office, where the player undergoes therapy sessions with Dr. Kaufman. These sessions include personal questions, psychological tests, and activities that influence the appearance of characters, the story's development, and ultimately, the game's ending. The most shocking twist happens at the end. The ending changes depending on how the player has responded in therapy sessions and the choices made throughout the story. Instead of allowing the player to fight enemies, the game forces Harry to run and hide. During nightmare sequences, the only goal is to escape from the raw shock's pale, terrifying humanoid creatures by running, climbing obstacles, and hiding in lockers or under furniture. Unlike other Silent Hill games, where exploration is more structured, Shattered Memories offers multiple paths to solve certain puzzles and progress through the story. Ari has a cell phone that serves as a map, camera, notebook, and a tool to receive voice messages and ghostly calls. This device enhances the immersion in the story. The game constantly analyzes the player's behavior, from responses in therapy to small details, such as which locations they explore first or how long they observe certain objects. This affects the appearance of characters, the story, and even the design of the enemies. Depending on the player's choices, the characters change their appearance. For example, Dahlia can be an attractive young woman, a middle-aged woman, or a neglected and depressed woman. The game uses dynamic lighting and shadow effects, which enhance the immersion and realism compared to other titles of the time. Depending on the responses in therapy sessions, enemies can become more aggressive, have sexual characteristics, appear more childlike, or even have fractured ice features. Although Shattered Memories lacks traditional monsters from the series, in an antique store, you can find a small pyramid head figure. There is a phone number in the game that, if dialed, plays a message from Heather Mason, the protagonist of Silent Hill 3. Unlike the original Silent Hill, in this version, Dahlia is not a cult fanatic but a distorted representation of Cheryl's mother. Not only do dialogues and endings change, but also small events and how characters react, depending on the player's profile. Shattered Memories takes psychological horror to a new level by making the player part of the story's analysis. While Silent Hill 2 is introspective and Silent Hill 3 is a direct sequel to the first game, Shattered Memories focuses on the father-daughter relationship and grief. Its story, gameplay based on psychological profiling, and unique atmosphere make it one of the most memorable experiences in the franchise. If you're interested in an emotional, immersive story with a deep psychological touch, Shattered Memories is an unmissable experience. And you, what would you do if Silent Hill shaped your personal nightmare? Number 5. Silent Hill P.T. The game that could have changed the saga forever. In the world of video games, there are titles that leave a mark, and then there's P.T. An experience that redefined horror in video games, and was cancelled before becoming a full game. Released in 2014 as a free demo for PlayStation 4, P.T. was presented as a mysterious, playable T.S.R. with no apparent connection to Silent Hill, but after solving its enigmatic ending, players discovered the shocking truth. It was actually a preview of Silent Hills, a new game directed by Hideo Kojima and Guillermo del Toro. starring Norman Reedus. However, the fate of this game was tragic. In 2015, after Kojima's breakup with Konami, Silent Hills was cancelled, and PT was removed from the PlayStation Store, becoming one of the most sought-after and valuable demos in history. The plot of PT is not told traditionally. Instead of cinematics or explanatory documents, everything is designated for the player to decipher what is happening through the environment, sounds, and events within the house. The player wakes up in a narrow and claustrophobic hallway of a house. As they progress, the house seems to trap them in an infinite loop, repeating over and over again, but with small disturbing changes in each cycle. On the radio, reports are heard of a man who murdered his pregnant wife and daughter, suggesting that the events occurring in the house are related to this crime. Little by little, a terrifying presence begins to manifest: Lisa, a female spirit who stalks the player in the dark hallways. The loop continues to become stranger and more terrifying, with cryptic messages on the walls, doors opening on their own, baby cries, and distorted visions. In the end, if the player manages to solve the complicated puzzle, a cinematic is unlocked where Norman Reedus appears walking down a deserted street, revealing that this was a teaser for Silent Hills. The story is never fully explained, leaving many theories among fans about the protagonist's identity and the connection to the franchise. While PT is just a demo, its gameplay set a new standard for horror games. For the first time in the saga, the game is experienced from a first-person perspective, increasing immersion and terror. The entire game takes place within a single hallway in a house, but the changes in each repetition transform it into a terrifying experience. Every creak, whisper, or echo in the house generates a sense of paranoia and tension. Not all appearances of Lisa or environmental changes occur in the same way for all players, making each experience unique. To progress, the player must notice subtle details in the environment and solve complex puzzles, some of which took days for the community to decipher. Unlike other Silent Hill games, there is no combat or traditional enemies here. The threat is in the environment, in the feeling that you're always being watched. Many fans belie that the crying baby in the house represents Cheryl Mason, Harry Mason's daughter in the first Silent Hill. Some phrases on the walls are written in Swedish, Japanese, and other languages, leading to multiple interpretations. The murder narrated on the radio seems to be inspired by real cases of family crimes. The demo weighed exactly 7,780 megabytes. 7,780 is an anagram of 7780s, which sounds similar to Silent Hills. While other Silent Hill games rely on combat and monsters, PT achieves pure terror with its atmosphere and sound. There is no fog, no hospitals, or abandoned streets, but it still feels like Silent Hill. Thanks to its graphics and sound, it creates a terrifying atmosphere without the need for cheap jump scares. PT was not only an impressive demo but a demonstration of how Silent Hill could evolve. With Hideo Kojima, Guillermo del Toro, and Norman Reedus involved, Silent Hills promised to be a masterpiece. But Konami cancelled the project, unleashed fan fury, and removed PT from the PlayStation Store, turning it into a lost legend of horror. Even so, its impact on the genre is undeniable. Games like Resident Evil 7, Layers of Fear, and Visage took inspiration from its atmosphere and gameplay. And you, what do you think? Do you believe Silent Hills would have been the best game in the saga? Or do you prefer the classics? Leave it in the comments. Number 4. Silent Hill 2 20th Anniversary Demake, a dark, retro, and faithful tribute to a classic. Silent Hill 2 is one of the pillars of psychological horror in video games. Recognized for its oppressive atmosphere, complex narrative, and deep characters. This Silent Hill 2 20th Anniversary Demake is a fan-made retro-style reinterpretation of the classic, maintaining the essence of the original while introducing its own innovations. The story in the Demake faithfully follows the original plot, focusing on James Sunderland, who receives a disturbing letter from his deceased wife, Mary, urging him to return to the cursed town of Silent Hill, facing indescribable horrors as he seeks answers and redemption. The Demake does not alter the main narrative but introduces several unique features that stand out for their faithfulness and passion. It adopts a visual style that mixes pixelated graphics, top-down view, and modern details. The town includes exploration, additional areas, and puzzles that are integrated into the narrative, offering immersive challenges. The puzzles have been adjusted to improve narrative flow without losing the challenge, integra. Ting better into the story and the town's atmosphere. Compared to other titles in the saga, the Demake balances nostalgia with visual and sound innovations. Small tributes to events and characters from other games in the saga, such as Silent Hill 3 and 4, are included. This is a game you definitely must play, no matter what. Would you like more Silent Hill games with this retro style? Leave your answer in the comments. Now, entering the top 3, we'll talk about Silent Hill, the Lost Trilogy. Without a doubt, you can't consider yourself a fan if you haven't played these hidden gems. 3 games that most people haven't played or don't even know exist, but today, right here, we're giving you the opportunity to do so. Number 3. Silent Hill Mobile, the forgotten game of the saga. When we think of Silent Hill, the first things that come to mind are its console releases or iconic title. Like the first PlayStation game or Silent Hill 2. However, the saga also explored other formats, including mobile phones. Silent Hill Mobile, a title that went unnoticed by many but tried to bring the essence of psychological horror to more limited devices. Released in 2007 for Java mobile phones, Silent Hill Mobile presents an original story that, although not directly connected to the main games, preserves the saga's disturbing atmosphere. The plot follows an anonymous protagonist, a man who wakes up in an abandoned Silent Hill hospital with no memory of how he got there. As he explores, he discovers that he's trapped in a macabre psychological experiment and must solve a deadly puzzle if he wants to survive. Throughout the game, the player finds messages written in blood, disturbing visions, and strange apparitions, all while trying to reconstruct his past. Along the way, he faces grotesque creatures and encounters a mysterious doctor who seems to have answers. The big plot twist is that the protagonist is not there by accident. He has a dark past linked to the hospital and the experiments conducted there. His decisions throughout the game affect the outcome, adding an uncommon level of replayability for mobile titles of that era. Unlike other games in the saga that combine free exploration and combat, Silent Hill Mobile adopts point-and-click gameplay, a style more suitable for the limitations of Java phones at the time. Instead of freely moving through a 3D world, the game allows players to navigate by tapping areas on the screen. The main mechanic revolves around solving puzzles, finding key items, and deciphering clues in the environment. The hospital is filled with dark hallways, blood-stained rooms, and cursed objects that either help you or condemn you. Unlike traditional Silent Hill games, here you can't fight enemies, you must avoid them or solve puzzles to progress. This approach makes it more like a horror graphic adventure, a style later revised in games like Silent Hill, The Escape and other mobile titles in the saga. Despite the limitations, the game manages to generate a disturbing atmosphere with 2D graphics that depict the hospital and its areas in an unsettling way. The characters have pixelated designs, but their expressions and details help convey the horror of the story. Due to hardware limitations, the game doesn't have a complex soundtrack but uses creepy sound effects like whispers, static noises, and ambient sounds to build tension. While not comparable to the 3D graphics of the main titles, for a mobile game of its time, Silent Hill Mobile does an excellent job of maintaining the franchise's dark aesthetic. It was the first Silent Hill game developed exclusively for mobile, although there are adaptations of other saga games. Silent Hill Mobile was specifically designed for Java devices. This title had limited distribution, mainly in Europe and Japan, making it less known than other entries. Although it's a point-and-click title, it offers multiple endings based on decisions made throughout the game. The idea of not being able to fight and focusing on puzzle solving returned in Shattered Memories, though in a more advanced format. While it doesn't have the same impact as other saga games, Silent Hill Mobile manages to maintain the essence of horror and exploration, adapting to the technical limitations of mobile devices at the time. Silent Hill Mobile isn't the most popular or scariest title in the franchise, but it proves that the saga tried to expand to new formats and deliver horror experiences even on devices with limited hardware. For the most dedicated fans, it remains a curiosity within the franchise, a testament that Silent Hill can adapt to any platform without losing its essence. Did you know about this game? Do you think mobile titles can capture the true horror of Silent Hill? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Number 2. Silent Hill Mobile 2, the unknown sequel of horror on mobile. Silent Hill Mobile 2 continued the story and took the horror experience on mobile devices even further. Released in 2008, it is a direct continuation of the first game. The story follows a new protagonist, a man who arrives at a psychiatric hospital in Silent Hill to investigate the strange events from the first installment. As he explores the place, he uncovers evidence of psychological experiments, disturbing files, and diaries that reveal more about the hospital's dark history. But he isn't alone. Soon, he's pursued by terrifying creatures and hallucinations, making him question his own sanity. The game introduces new characters, including a mysterious woman trapped in the hospital who seems to know more than she lets on. Player decisions influence the story, leading to different endings, some more disturbing than others. The plot focuses on themes like guilt, punishment, and mental manipulation, classic Silent Hill elements, adapted to a more narrative format due to the limited Java mobile gameplay. Silent Hill Mobile 2 maintains the point-and-click style of its predecessor but with several improvements. The hospital now features more rooms and interactive settings, enhancing the feeling of being trapped in a cursed place. Unlike the first game, puzzles are more complex and require greater observation. Some involve manipulating objects or interpreting hidden messages in the environment. Player choices affect the story's development, adding replayability. There are more tension-filled moments where you must avoid enemies or solve puzzles under pressure. This approach reinforces psychological horror, as you must unravel the mystery and find your way out before losing your mind, rather than confronting horrors head-on. For a Java mobile game, Silent Hill Mobile 2 takes a significant leap compared to its predecessor. The hospital is larger, with improved 2D graphics that enhance immersion and terror. While still a 2D game, transitions and visual effects feel more polished than in the first installment. While the first game takes place in a generic hospital, here you encounter areas like basements, flooded hallways, and torture rooms. Although audio capabilities on Java phones were limited, the game uses unsettling ambient sounds like whispers, distant footsteps, and distorted alarms. While it can't compete with console titles, within its platform, it achieves one of the best horror atmospheres for mobile games of its time. Story connection to Silent Hill 2. There are subtle connections to Silent Hill 2, including references to experiments related to the punished town concept, similar to Silent Hill 2, where the town reflects visitors' sins. Multiple endings. Depending on your choices, you can unlock different endings, including a secret ending suggesting the protagonist is trapped in an eternal loop. Similarities to Silent Hill Origins, NTS, like exploring a psychiatric hospital and the protagonist's traumatic memories, are reminiscent of Silent Hill Origins, released a year earlier. Like its predecessor, this game had limited distribution, making it hard to find today. While it doesn't have the depth of console titles, Silent Hill Mobile 2 shows that the saga can maintain its essence on any format. Silent Hill Mobile 2 is a game few know about but managed to expand the saga in a unique direction. Although technical limitations prevented a greater impact, its story, gameplay, and atmosphere captured the signature Silent Hill horror. For true fans, it remains a fascinating curiosity, a testament that Silent Hill can work even on unexpected devices. What do you think about this game? Would you like to see it remastered or adapted to a new platform? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Number 1. Silent Hill Mobile 3, the final chapter of the hidden mobile saga. Most players remember the titles on PlayStation, PlayStation 2, and PC, but what many don't know is that the franchise had a hidden trilogy on mobile devices. Silent Hill Mobile 3 was the third and final installment of this exclusive series for Java and Brew Technology phones, concluding the story started in Silent Hill Mobile 1 and Silent Hill Mobile 2. Despite its limited release, this game managed to expand the Silent Hill universe by adding interesting narrative elements, gameplay improvements, and new mysteries. The plot of Silent Hill Mobile 3 follows directly from the events of the second game, continuing the story of the Silent Hill Psychiatric Hospital and the dark experiments carried out within. This time, the player controls a new protagonist, a man with amnesia who wakes up in an abandoned apartment in Silent Hill. He soon discovers that he has ties to the psychedelic experiments performed in the hospital and that, somehow, he is a key piece in the puzzle surrounding this macabre place. As he explores the town, the protagonist experiences disturbing flashbacks, encounters enigmatic figures, and realizes that someone or something is watching him. The story revolves around guilt, mental manipulation, and the idea of escaping an inevitable fate. Among the characters that appear in the story, the following stand out: a mysterious woman who seems to know the protagonist and his past sins. Her true identity is revealed in one of the game's endings. A hospital investigator. Through notes and audio recordings, the player learns more about the experiments carried out and their effects on the patients. A symbolic creature. As in other Silent Hill games, the Re is a recurring enemy that represents the protagonist's fears and traumas. The game has multiple endings, depending on the decisions made during the story. Some reveal the truth about the protagonist, while others leave the character's fate open to interpretation. Silent Hill Mobile 3 maintains the gameplay of the previous two titles, with a point-and-click graphic adventure structure, but with significant improvements. Now there are more interconnected areas, including Silent Hill streets, abandoned buildings, and hidden passages. Unlike previous installments, here the puzzles require more observation and more elaborate item combinations. More elements can be examined, which helps to understand the story and find hidden clues. There are sequences where the player must avoid an entity that is chasing them, creating a sense of urgency. Depending on the choices made during the game, the outcome will change, adding replayability. This third installment aims to give greater depth to exploration, making it feel closer to console games but adapted to the limitations of mobile phones of the time. For a Java and Brew platform game, Silent Hill Mobile 3 achieved remarkable progress compared to its predecessors. Better quality sprites and environments. Although still 2D, the backgrounds and characters have more detail, and the shadows are better worked to create an oppressive atmosphere. Use of visual effects for horror. At certain moments, the screen distorts or subliminal images appear, reinforcing psychological horror. Greater variety of environments. While the previous games were limited to hospitals and enclosed rooms, here players can explore streets, buildings, and underground passages. More immersive ambient sound. Although Java phones had audio limitations, the Me includes more realistic sound effects, such as heavy breathing, distant knocks, and strange noises that appear randomly. Its technical aspect is simple, but within its context, it manages to effectively convey the essence of Silent Hill. The apartment where the protagonist wakes up is similar to the one in Silent Hill 4, suggesting a possible connection between the two games. Although Pyramid Head does not appear directly, there is a painting in one of the rooms that shows a silhouette similar to the iconic monster from Silent Hill 2. In one of the endings, the protagonist returns to the same place where they started, repeating the events over and over. Some narrative elements, such as the protagonist's trauma and their relationship with the town, are reminiscent of Homecoming. Like its predecessors, this game had a limited distribution and is currently almost impossible to obtain legally. Despite being a mobile game, Silent Hill Mobile 3 has similarities and differences with other titles in the franchise. A worthy ending for the hidden Silent Hill trilogy, Silent Hill Mobile 3 closed a little-known series but with an atmosphere and narrative true to the franchise. While its technical limitations distance it from console games, its story, puzzles, and atmosphere managed to offer a unique experience within the Silent Hill universe. For collectors and hardcore fans, it is a hard-to-find gem but one that deserves to be remembered as part of the saga's history. What do you think of this game? Would you like to see an adaptation for current platforms? Leave us your comment. For those looking to experience these Silent Hill games, these gems can still be found. If you want to relive these classics on PS Vita or another console, check out our website. The link is in the description. If you're a horror fan or simply want to immerse yourself in an experience that challenges the mind and senses, the Silent Hill saga is a masterpiece you must explore. Which of these games is your favorite? Leave your opinion in the comments and make sure to subscribe for more content about the world of consoles and video games. See you next time, and remember, in Silent Hill, things are never what they seem.
I was built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on the gas, never stop competing. If you break my glass, then this life's gonna end.
I wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name. Check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change.